Callie Jensen hadn't seen the town of Redwood Falls in nearly 11 years. But the moment she stepped off the bus, it was like the place breathed her name. Same cracked sidewalks. Same slow Sunday rhythm. Same scent of pine and engine grease that always reminded her of one person. Ethan Cole. The last time she saw him, they were both drunk on hope and too afraid to say what they really wanted. She had left 2 days later, a photography scholarship clutched in one hand and a broken friendship stuffed deep in her suitcase. He never called. She never looked back. He'll know. The reason she returned was simple. Her mother had fallen, not badly but enough to scare her into staying a few weeks. Just until I'm steady, her mom had said over the phone. But Callie knew better. Her mother missed her. And maybe she missed something too. The house was still the same. Floral curtains. Old records. Pictures of a version of Callie that barely existed anymore. Freckled cheeks, wild hair, eyes full of dreams. She unpacked slowly. Her camera sat quietly in the case by the door, untouched for days. That night she walked downtown just to feel the air again. That's when she saw him. Ethan Cole stood beneath the open hood of a red truck outside his garage, sleeves rolled to his elbows, a grease rag tucked in his back pocket. He looked older but in the good way. Like life had shaped him into something solid. His jaw still sharp. That same messy hair. And those eyes. God, those eyes. Hazel gold and full of unsaid things. Callie froze on the sidewalk. He didn't look up. Not yet. She could walk away. Pretend this moment didn't mean anything. But Redwood Falls had a way of not letting go. She stepped forward. Still pretending you know what you're doing under those hoods? Ethan's head snapped up. His eyes widened. Callie. Her name came out rough, like it had been sitting at the back of his throat for a decade. She smiled tight-lipped. Hey, Cole. He wiped his hands and walked toward her slowly, cautious. You're back. Temporarily. Pause. A beat. You look, he stopped himself. Different. So do you. More silence. This time thicker. How long are you in town? He asked. A few weeks. He nodded. You here alone? He asked, voice softer now. Yeah. Just me and my camera. Something flickered in his eyes. Something unreadable. And you? She asked. Ethan looked toward the truck behind him. Then softly, I've got a daughter now. Callie's heart skipped. She tried to steady her voice. Oh. Her name's Lila. She's 10. Smart. Obsessed with space and grilled cheese. Callie managed a smile. Sounds like a handful. She's the best thing I ever did, he said. Another pause. And her mom, she asked, not quite meeting his eyes. Jess passed away 5 years ago. Cancer. 1,000 things rushed into her mind, but she only said, I'm sorry. He nodded. Me too. They stood there, two people with too much history and nowhere to put it. Finally, she broke the tension. Well, I should go. Callie, he started then stopped. She looked back. I'm glad you're here, he said. She nodded once. Me too. I think. That night, Callie lay awake in her childhood room, staring at the ceiling. The house creaked in all the familiar places. The walls whispered like they knew secrets she'd left behind. He thought of Ethan. How time had softened his smile. How it hadn't erased the way her stomach still flipped when he said her name. She rolled over, grabbed her notebook and scribbled a line across the page. Sometimes the person you wait for isn't the one who's late, but the one who's finally ready. Callie didn't plan to see Ethan again so soon. She certainly didn't expect to almost run over his daughter with a grocery cart at Maples Market the next morning. The girl had barreled down aisle 4 at warp speed, carrying a box of cereal in one hand and a juice pouch in the other. Callie jumped back just in time. Whoa. You training for the Olympics or just really into frosted flakes? The girl stopped. Looked up. Big hazel eyes. Curly hair tied in a messy ponytail. And the kind of mischievous grin that made you forgive everything. You're not from around here, the girl said. Callie raised an eyebrow. How can you tell? You look like you own a camera, the girl said bluntly. Callie blinked. I do. Told you, she said smugly. I'm Lila. Callie paused. Lila Cole. The girl narrowed her eyes. Have we met? No, Callie said softly. But I knew your dad. A long time ago. Just then Ethan appeared around the corner with a basket of canned tomatoes and dog food. His face shifted when he saw Callie. Lila turned toward him. Dad, he has a camera. She knew you. Ethan blinked. Yeah. Callie, this is Lila. Lila. This is Callie. Lila crossed her arms, looking from one to the other. You look like you have secrets. Callie laughed. You're not wrong. Ethan smirked, trying to hold back a smile. You shopping or spying? He asked her playfully. Both, Callie replied. But mostly cereal. And a peace offering. He looked at her. She held up a box of his favorite granola bars. Still like these. He took the box. Some things don't change. Outside the market, Lila skipped ahead as they walked toward their cars. I remember when we used to do this, Callie said. Ethan nodded. You used to hate grocery shopping. Only when you insisted on playing air guitar with baguettes. He laughed, really laughed. Caught her off guard. I missed that sound, she whispered before she could stop herself. His smile faded into something softer. Me too. There was a pause. I wasn't sure how this would feel, he admitted. And now. Like I never stopped knowing you. 2 days later he called her. Lila's science fair is tomorrow, he said. She asked if you could come. Callie was stunned. Really? She doesn't usually open up that fast. Callie smiled. She's got good instincts. At the fair, Callie watched from the back of the gym as Lila proudly explained her project. A model of Mars made entirely of candy and spray paint. He was smart, bright, confident. And Callie felt something stir in her chest, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Not just admiration, not just nostalgia, but a flicker of maybe. Afterward, as they walked out into the evening, Lila grabbed Callie's hand without asking. I think my dad likes you, she said casually. Callie blinked. What makes you say that? Because he talks softer when you're around. And he laughs with his eyes. Callie swallowed. That's very observant. I read people, Lila said. Like books. Dangerous skill, Callie smiled. Only if the ending's sad. Callie stopped walking. Ethan turned, concerned. You okay? She looked at him. Really looked. I forgot how good this feels, she said. He stepped closer. Then let's remember it together. And just like that, without drama, without rush, they stood beneath the stars hand in hand like time had waited just long enough for the right moment. That night, Callie lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She no longer felt like a guest in her hometown. He felt like someone who maybe, finally, belonged again. And in the corner of her room her camera case sat open, waiting to capture something worth staying for. It was a photograph that nearly undid it all. Callie had been organizing her digital files one quiet afternoon in her mother's living room. Her plan was simple: delete the clutter, print the keepers. But she wasn't prepared for the folder labeled Redwood, 11 years ago. Her fingers hovered above the mouse. The thumbnails loaded slowly. There they were. Ethan and Callie at 17, arms wrapped around each other at the summer fair, popsicle-stained mouths, wind-blown hair. Her favorite photo. And then, the one she'd forgotten. The one she took the night before she left. Ethan asleep on her porch swing, her jacket draped over his chest, a note resting on his lap. She never told him she took that photo. He never mentioned finding the note. But he must have, right? Callie stared at it, heart thudding. Because she remembered exactly what that note said. I love you, Ethan. But if I stay, I'll never become who I'm meant to be. Please don't hate me. She closed the laptop and exhaled. Some doors never truly close. Later that evening, Ethan invited her over for dinner. Lila was at her aunt's for the night. The house was warm, glowing with soft light and the smell of roasted chicken and rosemary. Callie helped slice vegetables in his small kitchen while Ethan played his old country playlist. God, this place still smells like you, she teased. I'd apologize, but I've been told it's part of my charm. They laughed. They moved around each other like muscle memory. Like nothing had ever fractured. Over dinner they talked about everything, well, almost everything. But when he poured them both a second glass of wine and leaned across the table, something changed. His voice dropped. Can I ask you something? Callie nodded. Why didn't you say goodbye? Really? She froze. I got your message. But it didn't feel like closure, he continued. It felt like running. She looked down at her wine. Because that's exactly what it was. I would have chased you, he said softly. I didn't want you to. Why? Because if you'd asked me to stay, she looked up, eyes glistening, I might have said yes. Silence. I would have never forgiven myself for holding you back, he whispered. Callie reached into her bag and pulled out a printed version of the photo, the one with the porch swing and the note. I found this today, she said. I took it that night. Ethan stared at it. I never saw this, he said. You didn't find the note? He shook his head. Callie's breath hitched. I thought you read it. I waited that night, he said. Hoped you'd come out. When you didn't, I fell asleep. Your mom woke me up at dawn. Told me you'd already gone. Callie blinked, stunned. You never hated me? I was hurt. But hate. He shook his head. Never. He swallowed. I spent years thinking I broke you. You didn't break me, he said. You just delayed me. A beat. Then he stood and walked to her side of the table. Callie, he said gently, we've both lived our lives in pieces. Maybe this is the part where we finally stop waiting for perfect timing. She looked up at him. I'm scared. Me too. But I want this, she added. He smiled. Then let's take it slow. No pressure. No timeline. Just today. She stood. They held each other in the kitchen, quiet, steady, whole. And for the first time in years, neither of them felt like they were rushing. They were simply arriving. That night, Callie stood on the porch of the house where she once left without saying goodbye. She looked up at the stars. And this time she wasn't wishing on them. She was thanking them. Came in the form of an email. Subject line. Feature opportunity. National Geographic. Callie read it 3 times before she exhaled. A 6-month photo assignment in Patagonia. Wildlife. Train. Remote villages. The kind of job she'd dreamed of since she first picked up a camera. The kind of job that didn't wait. She stared at her screen in silence, the cursor blinking like it was asking, now what? That evening she met Ethan at the diner. He was already seated in their usual booth, drinking coffee, wearing that half grin she used to photograph every chance she got. You look tense, he said, eyeing her. I got an email, she replied. Good kind or bad kind? That depends on whether you believe timing is fate, or just really bad luck. He tilted his head, cautious. Callie. National Geographic, she said. They want me. 6 months. Patagonia. His face didn't change. Not at first. Then quietly, wow. Yeah. Silence. Are you going? I don't know. He nodded slowly. It's a big deal. He played with her napkin. It used to be the only kind of deal I lived for. And now, I'm not sure anymore. He reached across the table, fingers brushing hers. You don't owe me an answer tonight, he said. Or even tomorrow. But you deserve one, she whispered. Ethan's voice was steady. What I deserve is for you to do what makes you whole. I've waited this long, Callie. I can wait again. Her heart ached. I don't want you to wait. Then stay. It was the first time he'd said it outright. Say it again, she whispered. Stay. She blinked away tears. Don't make it sound easy. It's not. But it's simple. She looked down at her coffee, hands trembling slightly. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of chasing. But I'm also afraid I'll lose the part of me I worked so hard to build. I don't want to take that from you, he said. Then what do we do? He sighed. We stop thinking of this as either or. And we start thinking of it as us. She looked up. What does that even look like? Maybe you go, he said. And I stay. And we call. And write. And believe that if it's real, it'll survive, she finished. And when you come home, he added, we'll pick up right where we left off. Callie bit her lip. And if I don't want to leave at all? He squeezed her hand. Then don't. Not for me. But for you. That night she stood in her old bedroom, staring at her open suitcase. The same suitcase she packed the night she left him the first time. She placed her camera inside. Then her favorite scarf. Then, nothing else. Because something in her heart wasn't packing this time. It was unpacking. The next morning she met him on the same bridge where they used to sit and throw pebbles into the water. He was already there, skipping stones. She walked up, hands in pockets. I turned it down, she said. He froze. Turned. What? I turned it down, she repeated. I said no. His brows furrowed. Are you sure? Callie stepped closer. I spent 10 years photographing places to feel something. But the truth is, I only ever felt everything right here. His voice cracked. Callie. She cut him off. Don't say you're sorry. Don't ask why. Just hold me. He did. And it felt like exhale. Like arriving. Like every page finally turned to the right chapter. I love you, he whispered. She buried her face into his chest. I know. And this time, I'm not leaving. 1 year later, Redwood Falls bloomed like it had been waiting. Wildflowers stretched along the road out to the lake. The old diner had fresh paint, and the high school now had a new art wing. A gift from a quiet donor the town guessed but never confirmed. Callie Jensen wasn't a mystery anymore. She was home. Her photography still took her places. Weekend shoots in nearby towns, a fall series in Maine, even a short feature in a magazine called the Heartland Collection. But she always came back. Because Ethan was here. Because Lila was here. Because the version of herself that mattered most didn't live in galleries. She lived right here in this slow, golden place where love once waited, and finally landed. That morning, Callie walked through the meadow trail near Willow Creek. Camera around her neck, boots kicking up dust, heart beating steady. Ethan was already there by the tree line, standing beside Lila, who was holding a white envelope with shaky hands. You sure? Ethan asked her softly. Lila nodded. She deserves to know now. Callie approached. What's going on? She smiled. Lila handed her the envelope. Callie blinked. What's this? Ethan touched her back. Just open it. Inside was a photograph. A U one. Taken on Lila's old digital camera. It showed Callie standing on the porch a few months ago, laughing, her hair in the wind, a cup of coffee in her hands. Beneath it, a handwritten note. This is what love looks like. It's not waiting for the perfect shot. It's noticing the one already in front of you. Lila. Callie covered her mouth, tears brimming. Lila grinned, then pulled something from her backpack. A new leather-bound photo journal. The title embossed in gold. The ones worth waiting for. Inside were prints. Of Ethan working under a car. Of Callie reading to Lila. Of dinner on the porch. Of Ethan and Callie dancing barefoot in the kitchen. Moments Callie hadn't seen, because she'd been living them. She looked up. You've been documenting me? Ethan smiled. Guess it runs in the family. Callie laughed through her tears. Lila piped up. I figured it's about time someone took your picture for once. Callie knelt, hugged her. You're gonna be dangerous one day, you know that? I already am. Later that night, after Lila went to bed, Callie and Ethan sat on the back porch, wrapped in a blanket, sipping cider. Remember what you said? He asked. Which part? That first day we saw each other again. You told me it felt like I had secrets. She nodded. Well, he said, I do have one more. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a tiny black box. Callie's heart stuttered. No pressure, he said. No timeline. Just a question. He opened it. A simple silver band. Will you marry me? Callie stared at it. Then at him. I thought you said no timelines, she whispered. This isn't a deadline, he said. It's a promise. She smiled through a soft sob. Yes, she whispered. And when he slipped the ring onto her finger, it wasn't a grand gesture. It was quiet. Earned. Home. They married 6 months later. A backyard ceremony. Barefoot. Sunset vows. Lila as their officiant. Unofficially. Callie's mother cried through the whole thing. So did Ethan. Callie didn't. She just smiled like someone who finally stopped holding her breath. And every year on their anniversary, Callie added a new photo to Lila's journal. She titled the last page. Not because I left, but because I came back. Because sometimes the best love stories aren't about chasing. They're about choosing. Over and over. Even when it hurts. Even when it's hard. Even when it takes a decade. Especially when it takes a decade.